And this is my palette. As you can see, violet, ultramarine blue, ivory black, and titanium white. And that's all we're going to use. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the wide flat brush. This one here I believe is like a 3/4. Now this is called a number 16, but it's probably a 3/4. We'll get a little bit wet here. And we're going to start with the blue. But we're going to add some white to this blue for the sky. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. But we're going to have to get quite a bit of it here, so I'll get a little bit of extra there. More white. About like so. Then we'll start filling in the sky. About like so. Oops, paint the easel too, why not? Just paint the easel. As you can see where I didn't get any water up there, it's not quite as dark probably, or it's not going on quite as good because I didn't get enough light spray on there. And we're going to go ahead and put some more here. All the way across. Now we're going to be blending up into this with the violet eventually. Like so. Probably didn't make enough paint here. But we'll see. Get some more here. I think we'll get a bit more white. Mix up just a little bit more. Like so. It can be a little bit lighter down here because we're probably going to be blending the other color up into it anyway. So it can be a little bit lighter. Now if this doesn't go on too easily, you can always add just a tiny bit of water to it. Just a tiny bit. That's all you really need, just a tiny bit. That'll make it go on a little bit easier for you. About like so. Just like that. Make sure you get all the little spots filled in really good because you don't want to have to go in there later and do it. And then the next thing we're going to do is we'll make it a little bit darker. I still have some white in there, but we're going to make it a bit darker. And we'll put some on the bottom here. Like so. But we'll get a little bit more water and put in there. It's a bit darker than I really wanted it, but we'll fix that. We'll get some more white, put it in here. Add it right into it, like so. Don't forget, acrylic dries really fast, so if you have to go back over it again, it's just not that big of a deal. A little more white, I want to make it a little bit lighter going up here. So you can see how it's lightening it up right there, and I go down on it there, it blends it right in there with it, just like so. Just keep going across, like that. Nothing to it. Go back across horizontally when you're done, make sure it's good and smooth. Smooth it right out real good. I like that. And wash your brush. I got gobs of paint right there, so a bit more washing to do. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of the violet with some white, and we'll bring the violet down, and we'll mix it with some white. I think we'll get a little bit more white. Put it in there. And I know we're going to need quite a bit more here. So get a little bit more water in there. Now you don't want to get more than 30% water of your paint, so always be mindful of that. Just brush this in really good like so. Fill it all in. A little more paint. Going up there really good. Just like that, right up to the water. And that blue should be probably pretty dry by now. So we can get up there pretty close without bothering anything. Make sure you get plenty of paint in there. And I'm going to actually get a little bit more white here and lighten it up just a little bit more. And then I'm going to kind of blend down into it and up. About like that. Same with the top. A little bit lighter. We're going to blend it up. Right up into the sky. That. Just like so. Alright. I'm going to bring a little bit of that down in here a little bit. Just a little. Because we're going to have some reflections coming in here. We want to make sure we can get those too. Okay, we can wash our brush again. And we're next going to go to a little smaller brush. So we wash this one, put the palette down. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to determine where our horizon line is going to be. And it should be right about center, maybe just a tad bit below center. See if I can get this paint off the brush here. I'll take care of that some more later. Now, if you want to use a straight edge, there is nothing wrong with that. So I just keep a little board here in the shop. I just kind of eyeball where I want to put the horizon, okay, and find a good straight edge on it here, and or just a little bit below the center here. And I think that's about where I want it to be. I don't need much of a line. I can just barely see that line right there. So I can make it a little bit darker if I want to, but that's really all I really need. So we'll get rid of that. Get some of the paint I've got on me already off. You can tell when you're an artist, you end up with paint all over you. I thought I got over that years ago, but lately when I'm kind of in a hurry doing a video, I tend to be a bit more sloppy and get paint on myself. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a flat brush, we're going to get it wet, and we're going to take this ultramarine blue, straight ultramarine blue. I'm going to add a little bit of black to it, just to darken it up a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll do this horizon line. And I'm going to make sure I got a good straight edge on here. Now you can make some mountains here if you want to, which is what I'm doing here right now. And my paint, as you can see, is not quite dry. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it some time to dry. And just keep going across. Get my original line there. And another thing is I want this to dry because I got to put the earth up there. Come all the way across. Oops, a little bit thick there. Okay, I want a bigger mountain in here. Like so. Maybe we'll come out to a bigger one on the end here. So, if you get a little bit on the bottom, don't worry about it. We'll fix that later. It's not a big deal. Makes the bigger mountain right here. I could have used probably a bigger brush to do this if I really wanted to, but it really doesn't matter. We kind of taper off here. Like so. And it doesn't have to be perfectly the same color. You can put a little bit of that lighter color in the other, the darker would be fine. However many mountains you want, you can make the mountains look like anything you want. Makes no difference. Now I'm going to clean the brush here. What I'm going to do is, I want to clean this up a little bit, so it's pretty simple to do. Just go underneath it. Just go along like so. In fact, we're going to be doing that anyway with some white reflections. Just like that. Wipe your brush off. Got anything you want to straighten out? Now is the time to do it. Okay. Next thing you want to do is we want this to dry a little bit down here because we're going to be adding some white, but this should be about dry. It's pretty close. It's really pretty close. But while I'm waiting for that, we're going to need something round because we got to do the earth here. And I'm going to use this roll of tape because it seemed to be about the size that I wanted it to be. It could have been probably even a little bit smaller, but I think this will probably work just fine. And I'm just going to put it here. Now if you can draw freehand a circle, go for it. Now if I was going to take more time, I'd probably be a little bit braver and I'd probably do just that. I might just go ahead and attempt it, but to make it simple so that y'all can do it a lot quicker and easier, that's the way I'm doing it. Also, while I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm going to put a little bit more white on my palette here because I want some white that's not really contaminated because I want it for that moon. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this brush, this oval brush with this white, and then I'm going to go ahead and very carefully put the moon in. Make sure you go over your line. Make sure you go right over that line. And use plenty of paint. Now it doesn't matter if it mixes a little bit with them other colors, because you want it actually to mix a little bit, because that's how we're going to make it look like there's continents and stuff like that there. And if you make a little boo-boo and go over your line, you can still go on the outside and fix it up. Not a big deal. It's not quite as dry as I'd like it to be, but we'll work with it. And then don't have to worry about it being totally perfect, you know, because I assure you that planet Earth here is, or the moon's not perfect. It may look that way, but it's not. You can start filling in some of the areas here. Smudges it in, whatever. Take your time with it, don't try to rush it, and you'll be fine. And you want it to look like there's sunspots there, so definitely want to have some whites in here and there, wherever, you know. You can add a little bit to that by just adding that blue. You could really just kind of add some more to it, wherever you want them to be. Some little sunspots, moon spots, whatever you want to call them, like so. Some darker areas than others. Like so. Just like that. Nothing to it. Okay, you can wash this brush. Then we're going to go back to, hopefully this is dry enough. Put this down. Let's get this good and clean. And we're going to go back to the flat brush that I've already got all dirty with my fingerprints all over it. Get rid of that. Right now, it's important I'm keeping my hands as clean as I can, because eventually I'm going to be touching some of that canvas and I don't want to smear the other color in the wrong place. So I'm trying to be a little bit careful about it. Okay, so now I want to get some white. Just like so. I'm going to start right here in the middle, because we're going to be looking at getting some reflections from this moon. And we're going to start that by going right across here like this. And at the same time, we're going to be losing all that stuff we didn't want before. Like so. And then we're going to be coming right down across, about like so. Like this, just kind of move it in and out. And maybe we'll come in, we'll just really put a bunch of it right down here. And then we'll just take and wipe this brush off. We'll just kind of grab that same paint, just kind of move it along like this. Like that. Right out to the sides of it a little bit there. I want this to be a bit brighter up in here because that's the brightest area. And you might have to actually hit that again at some point. Even down here. Just like that. Now what I like to do too is I'll take and clean my brush off here. Get the paint off it. Now just keep it a little bit damp. And I just kind of go across it a little bit, just to help kind of smooth that out a little bit, kind of blend it in a little bit more. Like that. All the way down, right out to the sides, like that. And at the same time, this would be a good time to fix any boo-boos you might have that you want to fix or whatever. You can come over and just do the same thing. Just go right over it. Blend it in a little bit, like so. Top, same thing. There you go. Okay, now let's go ahead and get some trees. So what I'm going to use for the trees is probably the flat brush. We'll go ahead and we'll get some black and maybe we'll mix some violet with it. I got way more violet than I really needed, that's for sure. Black and violet. Now you want to make sure you don't want to make sure it's not all globby. You get it globby, you're going to get a mess when you start making these trees. Okay, so we're going to come basically from the top here all the way down. Just like so. And you might need to put a tiny bit of water in there, thin it out a little bit. And if you need to, steady your hand, get yourself a stick like this. This will help you a lot. Okay? And you can just take your time, let the stick hold your hand, just like so. sure you got plenty of paint. All the way down. This is where I need to have a bit more water, especially I see that it's coming apart right here because it's dry for one thing, and the paint's just not thin enough. I want to make that a little bit thicker. Okay, now let's go ahead and probably do another little tree right here. Why not? Just a small one. We'll bring it right here. Don't worry too awful much about it because you're going to be putting some leaves on the tree anyway, and we'll cover a lot of them little other spots or boo-boos you might want to call them. Happy accidents, call them that. Okay, we'll come over to the other side. We're gonna be doing other. Well, we might as well go ahead and hit some of these other ones too. I mean, you can do a lot of these with this one right here. So we'll come. Well, I know we're going to do one right over this moon right here. But we're going to make that one kind of thin, like so. Make sure you put a little bit of water in there if you need it. Mix it really good. Oops, I got a little bit of white on there. I do that all the time. Getting too much of a hurry. And hit the wrong color. Now you may want to use a liner brush to do this. But I'm doing it with this one right now, so it doesn't really matter to me all that much. Maybe I'll put another branch right here. And just the bigger ones. I'm going to use the liner brush probably for the other ones. And I think we'll do that right now. We'll go ahead and switch it to a liner brush. I think they'll work a lot quicker that way. I'm going to use this one from Rosemary, number 2. Get it good and wet. Make sure you pull it. Let me show you how to do that. When you get this wet, pull it and turn. Make sure it's at a point like that. And you'll never have a problem with it after that. Okay, so now you can put in some more branches, you know, basically wherever you want them. And you can see this liner brush does a lot quicker job. Just gotta make sure you get enough water on there, but not too much. Like I said, you want to stick to that 30% rule. Get some little branches here and there. You don't want them to be too straight either, you know, because they're not straight. They're all wiggly and all that good stuff. Wiggly and scrawny, and no such thing as a perfect one anyway, so maybe we'll put one right about here, like so. Need more paint. All the way down. And a lot of these you can actually make them a little bit lighter in color. So you can grab a little bit of white, lighten it up a little bit, maybe put a little bit more blue and purple in there, but make it lighter. And don't forget the one thing which I forgot myself here already, make sure you spray your paint. Just give it a good spray with your little water bottle. Just spray it so it'll keep it from drying. You want to keep it from drying as much as possible. And then these little lighter lines here, you know, they're not really meant to be seen as much. but they're supposed to be there. Okay, we'll put some over here, maybe up and around here. And maybe we'll have some right in here. Like so. I'm actually adding a little bit of that lighter color to the tree here. About like so. And maybe we'll put some in over here, maybe here. About right there. A lot of that will get covered up, but just put them in there anyway, wherever you want them. Maybe some little tiny ones off the side of the other ones. And somehow I managed to get paint all over me again. Joy. Leave me a comment if you do the same thing. Then I won't feel quite so bad. Okay. Now I just want to touch up a couple of little ones here because a lot of this paint was still wet, so it made it a little bit more difficult to do. Put that in there. Then we'll go to the other side. We definitely know what most of these are going to be a lot lighter in color, so we will just do the same thing, and we will come starting all the way up here, and we'll bring them all the way down, about like so. Got some way up in here too. And maybe some right in here. Maybe way up in there. Probably a whole bunch of them. About like so. Maybe there. Okay, I think I want to go a little bit higher up here too. I want to get some close to that moon, about right there. About like that. All right, now let's take and get some leaves going here. So we'll take and I think first we're going to use the round brush and see what happens. Okay, want some black, bring it aside, and blue, ultramarine blue, black, and add some white to that. Black and blue actually make green. Add some more white to that. Some more blue. Not as green as I'd like it to be. So I think what I'm going to do is add some green to it. So we'll save a little bit of time and get some sap green. And we're going to add some sap green to the color. I'm just going to mix it in with what I've already mixed. I just want it to be a really dark green. That's all I want to do. Be a dark green. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start, we'll put some, a few of these darker leaves here and there. Make sure you turn your brush a little bit here and there. Don't need a whole lot of leaves here. Like so. And then we can go ahead and start bringing in some bushes. I think it'll be kind of a darker color here and there. But these will just be, you know, bushes. They're going to cover up them trees with the bushes. A little bit here and there. Right along the bottom. Like so. And we're kind of going out to about right here. And we're just tapping in them bushes a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Just kind of tap them in. We're going to cover up them trees with these bushes. Some will be a little bit darker. Oops, got a little bit more blue there than I wanted. That's okay. We want it to be darker there in the bottom anyway. And we come right across the bottom, about like so. And then we'll come back up in here. We'll start, go ahead and very gently try to get our leaves on the trees here. as you can see, a lot of them chunks are kind of getting covered up as we go along here. About like so. And you even got some bushes down around here and around the leaves around these bushes here. About like so. And we might could put a little bit more over here maybe. Cover up some of that. And we'll do the same thing over on this side over here. Except I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start putting some hanging down about right here. All the way over to the very edge here. Just kind of pushing them in. Make like it's all part of the family. About like that. And we'll come over here and just barely touch this moon a little bit. Like so. Up in here. Make sure you leave some spots open though, because you want to be able to see the background and the sky and all that stuff. And I'm getting a little bit dry here, so make sure you don't forget to spray that palette. Get some water on there. Tap it in there good. And we're coming up pretty far on these bushes here, right next to the trees. About like so. Anyway, I think we just about got us a finished painting here. I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. We do have lives usually about once a week, and we'd love to have some people come in and visit with us and learn how to paint, ask questions. That's what we're there for. I enjoy teaching people. I've been doing it for many years. I've taught people that were 85, 90 years old and never painted a picture in their life, and they've had some beautiful paintings done. Anyway, thank you all. Have a great day, and we'll see you the next time. Goodbye.